Welcome back, and thank you very much for staying with us. July is Savings Month, and in South Africa at this time one becomes more aware of just how much people are struggling to make ends meet. A recent report by World Wide Worx, More Month Than Money, found that more than 76% of people are running out of money before the end of the month. Well, one banking institution has come up with a novel way to reach consumers and get them to think about how they manage money and develop better habits regarding financial matters. And joining me now to tell us more about this is Nedbank's Group Executive Marketing and Corporate Affairs Director, Khensani Nobanda. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Right. Let's start off with how, it has been discussed regarding people's behavior towards money. Have you really assessed how bad the situation is out there?
It is bad. So if you look at the campaign that we've just launched, I think the one statistic that should scare all of us is that 2 out of 3 South Africans spend more than they earn. So it's definitely something that we have to talk about and we have to discuss.
So at the moment, when you are engaging in that, have you been able to get people to think and talk about money in terms of addressing where the problem lies?
It's exactly actually, Colin, why we did the campaign. I think what we found was that people are scared to talk about it. There's many things people, they'll talk about their relationships very openly, but money is certainly something that they are afraid to speak about. And it's why we did the campaign and why we did it the way we did it. We found since the launch, which was last week Thursday, that the conversation about money has improved. But for us, this is not a once-off. This is an ongoing conversation that we believe South Africans should be having.
Well, what really causes people to spend more than they earn?
To be honest, people like to think it's a functional thing, right? It's actually not. Most people know if I spend more money than what I earn, that's not a good thing. Everyone knows that. But I think what we need to recognize is that our money relationships are driven by some level of emotional connection to money. It's actually why we've developed 8 archetypes that, a lot of people fall under in terms of how they deal with money, their emotional connection with money. So, for example, some people are gifters. Now, gifting is not a bad thing, but if you gift to the detriment of paying your expenses and living your own life because you're gifting others, that's obviously a bad thing. So we've created a questionnaire that helps you understand what your archetype is, and hopefully in understanding your archetype you can start learning what your good behaviors are, but also understand what your bad behaviors are, because when you understand that, hopefully you can then change your behavior.
So this type of model that you are using, does it have to happen based on the historical behavior of money patterns?
Absolutely. I mean, when you see the questions, as you answer them, who you are as an archetype will come out. But it's always interesting for me that, sometimes actually in different relationships, you're a different archetype. You'll find, with your mom, you're different. With your partner, you're different. And by the way, none of the archetypes are a bad thing. So, you can see some of the questions. I like to give things or money to people I love to show them how much I care. You then answer these questions. It's and at the end of it, an archetype will basically come out. None of the archetypes are bad. All you need to understand is your archetype, what the good things about it are and what the bad things about it are.
Now the movie, tell us about it.
So, I mean, when we started to say we want South Africans to talk about money, what we knew is that a 30-second commercial is not going to do the job. So when we created the Secrets campaign, we really wanted it to make an impact and be something very different that we've done. So we launched, I think initially for about 10 days, people thought we were launching a movie, or there was a movie called Secrets that was launching, completely unbranded. And you can imagine that's quite a big, bold step for a bank to take. And only last week did we then show that Secrets was actually money secrets that came from Nedbank. We've had amazing publicity, and we were very clear that if we're going to create a movie, the standard had to be amazing. So if you look at the production quality, the actors that we have, we really went out of our way to make a really good production, because we knew that if we wanted people to watch it so that they can have the conversations about money, it had to be really good quality.
Okay, so now aren't banks really a problem in terms of exacerbating the situation of credit extension?
So, and this is something that our chief executive always refers to. As a bank, we would certainly not want to lend money to people who are not going to be able to pay us. So to the best of our ability, what we do is we try lend money to people that we believe can pay us back, to be honest. Obviously, we get it wrong sometimes, but I think and not just us, also, people get it wrong in terms of applying for something that they actually can't afford. I think if you find yourself in that situation, what you should know is that you should be able to speak to your bank, because we will be able to help you in terms of how you get out of that situation.
Actually, when you talk about secrets, I mean, there's a thin line between a secret and confidentiality. I mean, you wouldn't want me to know your bank balance, and you wouldn't want to show me your salary advice. So is that a secret, or is it an element of confidentiality?
So funnily enough, I actually think very differently from you in terms of my salary, for example. When it comes to my friends, I'm very open about how much I earn. And the reason I do that is because, to be honest, sometimes you actually find yourself earning less than you should, because we're all hiding it so that no one knows how much you earn. And then it's actually detriment to your own self. Obviously, there's confidentiality. I'm not going to run around telling people. But when it comes to people that I trust, that I'm close to, I should be able to have that conversation with them. But it's more than what you earn. I think for me, what's more important is, if you take Amanda's story in the movie, Amanda was spending far more than she was earning, and she wasn't telling anyone. So her friends are spending with her, they're having a good life with her, thinking she's fine. And actually, Amanda's not fine. What we're trying to do is get away from hiding it, from making it a secret. Tell your friends, guys, I think I've got a problem. Because I think the minute you start talking about it, it starts getting to like a place where you can actually resolve it. And by the way, if you think about secrets, there's also positive money secrets. I mean, I always ask myself how in South Africa, a single mom of 3 can take her kids to varsity on a very low salary. So there must be something positive around how she understands money and how she uses money.
So it's the secrets of success.
Absolutely.
All right. So we have Savings Month as July every year. What is it that we should do differently in driving the message to encourage people to save? Because the status quo hasn't changed, that South Africans are a poor savings nation.
Look, I mean, selfishly, I'll talk about from us as a bank, right? We've got our rewards program, which is greenbacks, which we're repositioning. If you think about rewards programs for most banks, they want you to spend, and then you get points. What we're saying is we actually want to reward you for managing your money better. What does that mean? And it can be small things. So for example, paying cash somewhere versus using your card. Actually, using your card is less bank charges. All of a sudden, it adds up. It seems little on that one transaction, but it really does add up. Paying off your home loan, 100 Rand extra every month, adds up in the long term. So those are the things that as a bank, in terms of a rewards program, greenbacks, we will be rewarding you for. Because we believe, if you think about the journey of it, awareness, be able to talk about it, and then hopefully you start using products and services that help you manage your money better, and we reward you for that.
Tell me, interdepartmentally, in as far as savings, investments, and of course debt management, is there a synchronized way for people to be able to graduate from, a financially dejected situation, and then you move to a savings mode so that you can graduate to an investment mode while you're having financial wellness?
Absolutely, because the major difference between savings and investments, because both of them is about the future and planning for the future, but the major difference is that your earning returns on the investment is a lot higher than just a normal savings. But if you start with saving, just saying, I'm going to save 100 Rand of my salary every month, you all of a sudden have a pot of money in a year that you can use for investment, where the returns are a lot higher than just a normal savings. But you have to start somewhere. And sometimes it's not starting with the savings and investments piece. It's starting with spending in your means. Once you've done that, it teaches you a certain way. Then you're like, actually, I can cut here to be able to start saving. So you can absolutely see that progression.
So as we part ways, you and I, would we see a point where banks are involved in debt management? Why is that service being rendered by independent organizations? Do banks say, no, that's your baby?
No. So we actually do work with our clients. So if you come to us as a bank and say, I've taken this loan, I'm struggling to pay it off, we will work with you in terms of how we can help you to pay it off. It could be a longer term, so that you don't every month out of pocket a lot more than you should be. So we are absolutely involved with it. I think the difference is that, and this is part of having the conversation, you need to be brave enough and open enough to be able to say, I've got a problem, and speak to the bank, and we'll come to the party.
All right. Thank you very much for making time to speak to us. And actually, I called you with the wrong surname at the beginning of the interview. Okay, my apologies there. Khensani Nobanda is a group marketing executive at Nedbank, speaking to us about money secrets, talking about innovative ways of handling money.